Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio.
Hello, good evening and welcome to Rangers Radio as we look back at Saturday's match against Dundee United where we drop yet more points in the league, and of course we'll look at the reaction to the announcement today of Danny Röhl as the new head coach. Joining myself, Robert, on the show tonight is the apprentice and the master, GB and the Bridgeman. Evening, GB.
Good evening, Robert. Good evening, Bridgeman. Pleasure to be on with you boys tonight. And all good here, Robert, mate. Health's your wealth, mate.
Evening, Bridge. How you doing, mate?
Oh, good evening, Robert, and good evening, GB. I'm so happy. I'm still happy. Still happy. High as a kite. At least we didn't get beaten. And the results are. My favourite England team is Man United, and the one I didn't want to win. Them Sunday. So good results for us all round for me. Very happy. But can I just say to all the Rangers fans that are listening in all over the world, good evening. Welcome to Rangers Radio. Very happy, very happy.
Yes, of course, obviously the big talking point today, gents, is the announcement of Danny Röhl as head coach, which we'll come on to later on in the programme. Just want to get your quick thoughts. Obviously, the game at the weekend, GB. I know you were at the game, mate. Initial thoughts on the game overall itself, and then we'll digest the goals as they happened.
I mean, first half, Robert, you can't have any complaints. Stevie Smith done a grand job getting the team organised. So hats off to him. He must have been shaking like a leaf going into the game and that, really nervous and stuff. But like I say, set the team up well. We looked lively. We looked hungry. I mean, we had a wee early scare after Dundee United, but after that, we kind of seemed to get a grip of the game. And Tav was shooting on sight. Asgard was shooting on sight. We had Gassama being a bit of a menace. We had Ant-Man, who was brilliant on the wing as well. And then the two of them were switching there as well. So there was a bit of interchange going on as well during the game. So for me, mate, it's just positives in that first half, and you could probably put it down to like the kind of new manager bounce kind of thing, but it did look as though they had a point to prove in that first half, Robert, and it proved that Big Asgard's first goal, mate, just a brilliant bit of quality and something that we've been craving to see. And I was saying to the boys I was sitting with, I was like, it's the first time I've seen Asgard as if he's been allowed to have the handbrake off, and he just looked so composed in the ball. So I know you're wanting to talk about the game, but that first goal was just what we've been kind of waiting for after that boy all season.
Bridge, GB's obviously mentioning the goal, and we'll touch on it now, mate. As you said, it's probably the first we've seen Asgard play with a bit of freedom, maybe not restricted too much to certain instructions in a role as such. He got the ball, drove forward from within his own half, took on two defenders, chops back onto his right foot, and it's a lovely finish, Bridgeman, into the top corner, and it's something that he's got in his locker that we need to see more of going forward.
Absolutely fantastic goal for Rangers. Absolutely fantastic goal. And you know, the wee boy Gazman, he had a wee part in it. He helped to set him up, and I think that wee boy's a great player as well. About that big fella Asgard, he strolled it. He absolutely strolled it for that 10 minutes or so. When he started coming back into the game, his control was quite good. I'm not saying he's the best player in the whole world by any stretch of the imagination, and I don't suppose he was brilliant for the whole game, but I thought at that point there, that lovely move, and all of a sudden Gazman pushes the ball and away you go, and he's in, as you said, takes two turns for players, and he slips it from his left to his right and hammers it into the net. Just fantastic. Just fantastic. There's not many goalkeepers would have stopped that. It was just brilliant. Very happy.
GB, obviously, you said yourself, mate, we looked in control. We had a bit of a scare at the start from Dundee United, but as you said, once we get the goal, it just looked like we were in control. dominating possession, some nice passing moves, and it did look like we went back to basics. The setup, the movement, the interchange. There just seemed to be a bit more freedom, and we pushed for that kind of second goal to maybe see us home and dry by half time, but it just unfortunately never came. But you could see a bit more intent and desire from the players.
100%, Robert. Like even the way the team was playing, the way that it was kind of like says that kind of shoot on sight, any chance that you had, then you were to take a pop at goal. Even some nice wee curling balls in to get Miofsky trying to get some headers as well. In that first half, and you're right, mate. Just totally unlucky that we never got that second goal. And the way they were playing as well was having a good effect on the fans as well. It was getting every time we kind of had that chance and it was just missed or whatever, the fans were up roaring for more and all that, trying to drive the team on. And it was really good to see that kind of atmosphere back, mate. It was actually really good to see that there was a team there that we can hopefully get behind, mate. But for whatever reason, it comes to the end of that first half, mate, and we come back out, and I don't know if it was again this complacency that sets in, mate, but they just kind of, I think they were just trying to get the second goal and then the see out the day kind of thing. That's the kind of feeling I got for the start of the second half, mate. It was just like, right, we were total control of that first half. We'll take control of the second half and we'll just see how we go. We'll get that one chance and we'll bury the game. But unfortunately, mate, and as Fox always says, that these guys that we're playing against, they're not any mugs. They've came through academies and all the rest of it, and they're coming from different leagues and all the rest of it as well. And if you switch after this, if you're no killing off a game, then you'll see what we've got to talk about, mate. That second half was atrocious, mate.
Bridgeman, it certainly was a big drop-off, not for the first time we've seen this season, from the first half to a second half performance. Give Dundee United credit, they changed their tactical approach second half. They made a substitute at half-time, they changed that. They became more physical, which was apparent in obviously the bookings they picked up, but we just didn't seem to register or handle that very well at all. They were winning second balls, they were more pressing towards us, and ultimately you could see the goal was coming. Bridgeman?
Yeah, they certainly started putting pressure on. They made the change at half time, and I think they switched to like a 3-5-2, which was very brave. But you know, they're ended switching to that. They can pull the midfield back very quickly, and all the teams that play against us can do that dead easy. We don't see what they're doing for some reason, or it doesn't register. We see it. They're up inside our box, and within half a minute they're back inside their own box, all ready for us. You know what I mean? There's something about them. We seem to stroll. Our players seem to stroll. Anyway, I thought in the second half, GB mentioned it. You mentioned it yourself, Robert. We started to lose it or miss out the second ball. But we just never got it, and they became tough, physical, and you could see it all happening. They pushed us off the ball dead easy, and our players are stopping looking at the referee type thing, you know. And I'm not saying they did it all the time, but that's what it looked like to me. I mean, we obviously need to toughen up because we have got a team that can play football and can play close play football as well, and we've got a wee bit pace. But for God's sake, when you start getting all mixed up and tied up in the midfield and you're losing it, see if you miss the second ball, you've lost the game, because that team are going to, whomever it is going to be past you in 3 or 4 steps and he's away. You ain't going to catch him again, and that's your direct opponent. You've got to make sure you get a tackle in and win the second ball. If you win the second ball, you have a good chance you're going to win the game. That's where the game ebbs and flows. In that midfield, you've got to win the ball, win it every time, if you can, obviously. If you can't, then you're going to struggle. You'll end up back in your own box again. And that's what's happening. You saw the way they played against us. They were very good. There was no pure luck and things like that. They were very, very good. Got a good couple of goals too. Can't believe it.
GB, you talk about an instant impact from a substitute. Jim Goodwin makes the change, and within less than a minute, I think it's the guy's first touch. He's got time to set himself outside the edge of the box, have a shot at goal, and before you know it, it's in the back of the net. Now again, a good strike. You'll give him credit for the finish, but from a defensive point of view, he's got so much time to take that touch, set himself, and it shouldn't be the case. He should be closed down a lot quicker.
Well, that was a big thing as well. We seemed to give them time on the ball in the second half as well, give them space, and that's what happened again. Nahum to have big man. He did put in a decent performance at the weekend, but it just allows the guy to move the ball and have time to set himself, like he says, mate. Doesn't go and just challenge the ball, go and be hungry to win the ball back. Sits off him, and then again the boy gets a colour right in the bottom corner. And folk might say Butland could have do better, but for me, mate, he doesn't see it because Tav and everybody else is just standing in front of him doing nothing. And it's a kind of whipping ball, and it gets, like I say, squeezed past Tav and down to the bottom corner. So it was a poor goal to lose. But even at that point, I was like, right, okay, fair enough. We have been like this all season. It's the usual one that we concede. And I still think I was in that kind of mode where the first half performance will carry us through. But again, as we've seen, mate, the Dundee United gets energy for that. You know what I mean? And the dark arts started kicking in a bit. The referee again was just letting things go, and it was just kind of starting to unravel a bit. And it's the same. It was the kind of same movie that we've been seeing all season. And then they go and rattle that one. They rattle their second one in at 75 minutes, mate. And again, it's. These teams always seem to pop up with these worldly goals, but boys just got time again to set himself and have a dig at it. I mean, to be fair to Jack Butland, Jack Butland has a great save to stop the ball going in initially. But again, the ball just bounces out and nobody's dealing with it. They just allow Dundee United to go and win the ball, and the guy just brings it down and smashes it in the top corner. We've just got to be right on top of these kind of things. We've got to win. As folk keep saying, win the second ball, win the second ball. Well, we need to kind of win the first ball as well. It's just horrific to watch that we just allow these guys just to have their moment in the sun kind of thing. And that goal was just another one that just signed us off again. And then that was it. The whole atmosphere changed in the stadium, Robert, unfortunately.
Bridge, take nothing away from Craig Sibbald, who gets his second goal for Dundee United. Is a great finish, but again, it's the time and space he's got to bring that down, as GB says, and essentially pick his spot in the top corner. And as much as Butland's flying through the air, if it's hurt that sweetly, you're not stopping it any day of the week.
No, that guy's got a really good shot on him. Always did have a lovely shot. Just a brilliant goal. I have no complaints about it at all from their side. Obviously, my complaints are all against our side, as I've just said. I think, when they scored that goal, and you thought to yourself, they're 2-1 up. What are we going to do? How are we going to respond? And we didn't respond, and it took a wee while to respond. And that's a killer when you don't respond. And I mean by a response, could we have brought on? I can't remember numbers. Could we have brought on another substitute? That's a good way to say, let's respond with something. Because whomever it is that's on the party you've got your eye on, they don't appear to be winning this or winning that. We seem to just fall out of the game entirely. And for big chunks, you know. And, we end up with this, we end up a lot. They had a big chunk of possession for times in that game. And we never had any. We didn't get the ball at all. But of course, once we start attacking again, I don't know what it was that turned the game, but we've started attacking and pushing up. And when you push up, they've got to go back. So when they're not in our part of the pitch, then they can only be on their own, and we can push right up. And that, in my opinion, the centre halves don't go any further. 10 yards, they just stay inside the 10 yards, and that's how you go. And that's 10 yards in our half. Well, I saw 4 times I've seen it. Somebody played a lovely ball over the top, and each time we were struggling to get to that ball. I think we got to 2 of them, and the goalkeeper ran out and managed to clear one of them anyway. And the other one, the guy missed a chance. It's there, watching us right in the face. Our defence are so poor. They're not reading the game. They don't appear to be able to read the game anyway. And GB probably knows a wee bit about it as well. When you think about it, Robert, when you can read the game and you can read what's happening in front of you, if you're a centre half, you've got the whole pitch to see in front of you. And you've got all the players, you know where every single player is, but you're not sitting there waiting on them. They've got to be ready and anticipate what they're going to do, because they're going to run. And they're going to run right over the top of you if they can. Our centre halves just to let them do it. That's my moaning groan. I can't say any more than that.
GB Bridge mentions about reacting, and we didn't react to going 2-1 down for another 5 or 6 minutes or so until Stevie Smith made a triple substitution, brought on Connor Barron, Finlay Curtis and Mikey Moore. And 2 of them are actually involved in the equaliser for Tavernier. Barron plays it into Moore, who holds it up and actually does well to cut it back to Tavernier. And again, it's another great finish. It's a game that's got 4 goals, and all 4 have been worthy goals. Yes, arguably, Dundee United goals could be stopped by us. Of course, we'll look at that point of view. But again, he's made a sub, 2 have impacted it, and we've got a draw. When again, potentially, when you look at it, given the fact it was his first game back, the atmosphere, the noise surrounding everything else off the pitch, it could have been a game where we could have lost, but we had a bit of courage to go and get the draw. But what I will say, GB, is in the past, if that was a Russell Martin manager performance, you'd have questioned the tactics and the style. That drop-off from first half to second half, despite coming away with a draw, that's on the players, mate. You can't blame the management staff on this one.
No, you can't. No, and Stephen Smith, like I says, he's going in there trying to do the best he can. The only thing, small criticism I would have had to him was that he left it too long to make the substitutions. I think that kind of 2-1 stage where, like I says, the 75 minutes was the time to, as Bridge says, react and change it up, get Mikey Moore on then, and let the boy run at the aim for 15 minutes, I mean, or more, with the way it was added on time and stuff like that. But the goal itself was what we've probably been craving for that full second half. A good bit of quality, bit of composure again, because that's what we had in the first half. The boys weren't trying to force it. They had their heads up, and the Mikey Moore one goal just kind of sums it up. That he looked up, seen Tav. Tav was running right in the box, laid it after him perfectly, and Tav battered into the back of the net. And that's another thing I noticed in the game as well. At that point when we went 2-1 down as well, Robert, that as soon as that happens, Tav's trying to do it all himself. He's trying to win the game back. We need in that team, and you've been critical there, mate, is that the team itself needs to help each other. They can't be all in Tav, because he was trying to run and get all the throw-ins and what I say is just try to drive the team on. As Bridge was saying, that it was Tav that was running right up the park and letting the other 2 sit back and stuff like that. I just can't be doing to him all the time. As much as I criticised him for that kind of first goal, he had a decent game, but he's involved in a lot of moments throughout that game. Everybody else needs to start pulling their weight a bit in that team, because whether it's Tav, it's maybe influencing that, I don't know, but the rest of the team really need to start pulling their socks up and trying to influence the game themselves as well, because it can't be done to James Tavernier to try and get us wins all the time. But again, I kind of diverted there, but the goal itself, mate, was good. And I kind of signed after the day. Unfortunately, like I say, it sent the fans up the road, still raging with the team and stuff like that. But overall, when you look in the grand scheme of things, the way the season's gone, probably if it was Russell Martin, we probably would have lost that game, because Big Jack Butland saved us at the end as well for them scoring. So overall, draw, decent enough game, some decent performances there to see that hopefully we can see improve in the future. But still, we need somebody to get a hold of this defence and get us set up tactically, I think.
Now, you know, Rob, sorry. Oh, go on, Paul.
On you go.
No, I was going to say, much like what GB said there, you're looking for somebody, in all honesty, we've been looking for a long time. We're looking for somebody that will grip the defence and the people round about them and the people, the midfield just in front, and start shouting and telling them what to do. but more so the defence. And I would say something like with Terry Coop, fuck's sake. God, him came for Ipswich. Butcher. What Big Butcher did for us. I thought he was an absolute stalwart, and he showed us what we needed to do from a defensive perspective. And I thought we need something like that type of signing. I'm not saying you're going to get someone of his class. It's something like that. And I thought we'd got something like that. We've got two big centre halves that are sitting on the bench, unable to do anything. I don't know if they're injured, probably not, but they're not getting selected. God knows why. We've got a big 6'4" centre forward, and he can't kick a ball by the sound of it and the feel of it. We've got things that are wrong, but we need someone that's going to be a killer in the pitch for us. I'm going to be a killer. A big centre half. There's no prisoners. Take no prisoners. Bulldoze through everybody and go for the ball. The referees will no bother with you doing that. They'll no bother because you're the one on the front foot and you're going to get there. That's what we need. And somebody to tell us, tell the players round about them, this is what you've got to do. And when something goes wrong or somebody makes a mistake, the big centre half comes up and says, And you know what else I can tell you this, that whenever there's a fracas on the pitch, the big centre half should be there and shoving everybody away from our players. Shove everybody away, no matter what it is. Just go up there and push them out of the way. If you do that, and I'm not saying you're not going to get spoken to and shouted at. You're going to get it, but you're not going to allow them to bully you. No way is them to bully any Rangers player on the pitch. But we get bullied all over the pitch now, don't we?
Well, that's certainly something maybe we need to improve on. And you've seen Dundee United do the dark arts of the game. Maybe we should start doing that as well. But we shouldn't really compare ourselves to other teams. But listen, boys, we better get these phone lines open because I think there might be another talking point tonight. So let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Yes, come join us, give us a call, let us know your thoughts on the weekend's game, and obviously the news that broke earlier this afternoon. Danny Rowell appointed Rangers head coach on a 2.5-year deal. GB, it was a long 15 days of waiting and high expectations to then flatness. Sums up our season so far on the pitch, and it was the same off the pitch with the process that we had to endure. What's your thoughts, mate? Obviously, the decision's been made to bring in Danny Rowell. Yes, arguably not a lot of people's first choices. I think that's clear when Gerrard and Muscat have knocked it back. Rowell himself withdrew last week from the process. So it's very interesting, mate, to see if the question's asked what made him come back or what made the board go back to him. But what's your initial thoughts, mate, on Danny Rowell being the new head coach?
I think the heart and the head's there, Robert, for me, right? And I'm always honest on the show. And the heart's saying, on paper, with his background and all the rest of it, decent enough signing, right? Decent coach. My head, though, is a concern is that it's a 36-year-old guy. We've heard the quotes before of he's a decent coach, even back to like Michael Beale times. He's a right good coach on the training pitch and all the rest of it. But it's that, and it's the same with Russell Martin. He's a great coach, but we could just couldn't see it on a Saturday. His interview, as we're going to hear, mate, is really good. He talks about his time at Bayern Munich and all the rest of it, and all that stuff just sounds great, mate. It just, like, that's what I'm saying. The heart's saying, like, all right, I could get right behind this. He's going to improve this team. He's going to have his running hard, winning games and stuff like that. But then it comes back to all the kind of other stuff with the head, mate, and the heads tell me that it's probably not a good time to have a kind of another novice kind of guy coming into our club, mate. I really did think we needed a stronger leader, a manager. Again, they've announced this as a head coach, so they're sticking to their guns with this head coach thing, and it's got to be a director of football above that. But I did think we needed a kind of figurehead of some sort, mate, to come in, grab the team with the scruff of the neck, grab the club with the scruff of the neck, and gee the standards back, and hopefully drive us to some silverware, mate. No, I'll get behind it. I'll sit back and watch what happens with Danny and that. But I'm very meh, if that's the word, mate. I'm very like, oh well, that's the best we could do. And the other thing that annoys me, mate, it doesn't really add up to the chairman's statement. The chairman, after they sacked Russell Martin, it was about going out and getting that leader. We know we've made a mistake and all the rest of it. I hope this boy Danny Rowe goes out and proves he's all wrong, but I'm kind of in that kind of. I think I'm in the kind of minority where we're kind of a bit sceptical of the appointment, mate. And that's probably where I'm at on it. I hope he does well. His pedigree says that he will do well, but I don't know. 36-year-old head coach of Rangers. Well, let's wait and see, mate, for me.
Bridgeman, as GB mentioned, he's got a CV where you look at the places he's been at: Bayern Munich, Southampton, Leipzig, German national team, where he's been assistant or a coach within under Ralph Hasenhüttl, Hansi Flick, etc. So he's got some experience in that aspect. But obviously the first thing you would look at is his managerial period, where he was at Sheffield Wednesday, who had their own issues, they had their own problems, and he got them safe in 2 years in a row. I think he finished 12th in the Championship last season. In League One last season. So I think, so I'm on the fence, mate. That's my opinion. I'm on the fence because it's either going to work or we're going to be here in a few months' time again where we can't afford to be. But is it arguably correct to say, looking at his CV and coaching experience, he's got better credential than what Russell Martin did?
Well, all I know is his last role where he was with Sheffield Wednesday. I don't get me wrong, I didn't follow him in any way, shape or form, because who could follow Daddy Cool?
That's a chant you bears be singing that on Sunday.
I think look, I'm dyed in the wool, you know. I'm a Rangers fan. You know, I'm nearly 79 and I'm desperate for somebody to come in and do something. And I don't want anybody like Russell Martin at all. I don't want anything like that near our club again. This guy here seems to be and have been quite a successful coach from a coaching perspective. And I'm quite happy to go with what that is. I think he's got a job in his hands when he comes in to deal with the people directly above him. I think that's a big problem area in our club, or one of them. But that to me is a big one. And he's a young lad, a young man, and he's got a job in his hands. Even from a footballing perspective, we know he's got a job in his hands. I wish him all the luck in the world, and I want him to succeed. I'm no holding anything. I'm no gauging him against anything. We know what needs to be done with Rangers. All of us know we need to win. We need to, number one, we need to score goals, and we need to win games. No matter what it is, we've got to do these things. And if we can play really good football, even better. So you can roll the whole things up to be, let's be a really good team. This is a guy that might be able to do that for us. I have no idea, of course, no idea. But I'm hopeful, and that's what I want to see. I want to see this guy coming out, building his team whatever way he wants. He's got a squad there, and that's all he can use at the moment until we get to the end of the year. So he needs to find out who they are and do it quickly. As I say, there's a number of players in our squad at the moment who just aren't playing, not getting selected or whatever. I don't know why. Maybe they don't fit in. I don't know. But this guy's got to be able to look at them and find out what they can do with them. And I don't believe that every week. See, I'm not being funny, guys. Every week we're going out And every week we've got blunders in the middle of the centre defence every week. And it's just that they're no fast enough. They can't kick the ball properly. They try to kick the ball from the way they're facing. These kind of things, and it causes nothing but trouble. So, and we get caught out, of course. Balls coming through balls and balls over the top. We're not reading, we're not doing anything. So this manager, I'm hoping he'll look at those two big fellas that we've got either in the squad, but knowing the full squad when the games, get them in or get them on the pitch and try them out, see what they can do, because we might be really surprised. We've seen them a couple of times, and sometimes they look a bit pretty difficult, nervous. He needs to get that nerves out of them. We need people playing. Sorry, guys.
No, you're right, mate. GB,
Go for it.
I've got one kind of question. Now we heard about Steven Gerrard saying it wasn't the right time. Now I'm going to use the word timing here for this appointment. If this is a guy that the owners, Ben Felwell and Stewart, wanted, why did it take till today to get it done when it could have been in place for the game at the weekend? He was unemployed. They could have spoke to him and had him in during that international break. Why did it take 15 days if he was the one they were going for?
Probably it was the 7 interviews, Robert. Maybe they had to give him the 7 interviews first. Mate, this is the thing. Like, and I really do hope the press ask the hard questions, mate, because we, as fans, we kind of need to know. I mean, there clearly been other targets, isn't it? I mean, they've been after Gerrard, and he's been kind of setting the back burner, and maybe that's why he's probably been like, look, you're not messing me about. I'm going to focus my energy elsewhere and that. And but whatever happens, mate, for me, like the Danny Rowe appointment, good luck to the guy. But if he's successful, brilliant, win-win. But if he's not a success at Rangers, it's no on him. This is not going to be his failure. This is going to be on whether it's Patrick Stewart, Kevin Felwell, or it's going to be Cavan and Prague. This is their choice to stick with this coach role. I mean, and it's whatever the other candidates didn't want to join up for. If they were, willing to stick by the setup, then if it fails, then they've got nowhere to go after this, mate. Because it'll take heavy criticism. If they thought it was bad now, then it will be interesting to see what happens if this isn't another success. But on that basis, then they've rolled the dice. So I applaud them for that. I applaud them sticking to their principles. But again, if it's another failure, mate, then I dread to think how Ibrox will be, mate. That's what I'll say, because you've seen how it was at the weekend there again, with banners up and stuff like that. I just think that to expect this boy to come in and galvanise a squad there night, it's just not going to happen. I'll be more probably judging this guy probably after the January transfer window, for me, to be honest, mate, and see what he does with the tail end for January to the end of the season. And then that gives him a fair crack at the whip, because if we knew right up to probably, the kind of next Old Firm at Christmas time, New Year time, then it's all about him trying to implement his style. But I think we're still going to be a bit iffy, mate, unfortunately. But like I say, it's their choice, mate. It's on their heads, be it, and we'll see what happens, mate.
What we'll do, guys, if you don't mind, if you get yourself on mute, we can hear from an interview from this afternoon from our new head coach, Danny Rowe. So get yourselves on mute and we'll have a listen.
How do you feel to be here at the club and be the head coach of this football club?
Yeah, welcome to all our supporters, to all the staff, and of course to my players. I'm very happy to be here today. I'm very excited, I must say this, to be on such a historical place, such a traditional club, a huge club. I think we know what we have to do, of course. We know which goals we have, and I know it's a demanding club, and this is the reason why I'm here. I demand a lot from my players, from my coaching team, and a lot from myself. It's about winning games, and we have to start very soon. And we have the first opportunity on Thursday in the European League. I think it's amazing to be part now of this fantastic club, and yeah, I'm really looking forward. If you commit to this club, then you have to know what it means. It's about respect to this club. You have traditional things, and you have to respect these traditional things.
In your coaching career, you've obviously worked at top clubs with top players in elite environments. What have you learned from all those experiences you've had so far?
I think a lot, yeah. I think after now 16 years in this job with a lot of different stations, I think in Leipzig, if you want, I learned a lot about how you build up a club and you be successful in one direction. I had some relegation fights. We always won in this fight, but then, and this is I think very important for us here, my experience in Munich, we won all in all 7 titles in 18 months. We won the Champions League. We were the champion. And I know what it means to lead such a club in front of all the demandings. And I think this is very important to understand when you arrived here that you have to win. And I want to win with my group. We want to work very hard for this. Because we know in this demanding league as well, we will not play against teams, they will not fight for points. Yeah, and I think we have to be better and we have to be very clear in which direction we want to go. And I'm really looking forward tomorrow for the first training session with my group to bringing exactly in this direction.
You mentioned the past silverware success that you've been involved with. How big a factor was that in you coming here to be able to regularly compete for silverware at a club like Rangers?
I think it's a huge experience. At first I learned from very good managers as well, from Hansi Flick, Ralf Rangnick, as are big names in this business. But especially in Munich, you are challenged every 3 days in different competitions. You have big games ahead and you have to win. And this makes our job, yeah, I like it very much, I must say this. And this is also, I think, what I like, that our fans are very demanding how we play. I think we have nearly 50,000 every day, or every match day at home. And I think this is fantastic to see the stadium, and people come in the stadium, they want to see wins and they want to be entertainment from our side. And I think this is crucial for me, and I took a lot from the last years on the highest level. I said this many times, I want to be an ambitions club, and I think this is exactly the challenge I want to have. This is an ambitions club. We want to win things and not just in 2-3 years, as soon as possible, and for this we have to start.
Can I just touch on your time at Sheffield Wednesday? It was obviously your first time as a manager yourself. How was that experience for you? You obviously managed to keep them in the Championship.
Yeah, I think it was very interesting when you come from Munich international team and then you take a team over who's really fighting to stay in the league. In a similar situation where you think we have to be better, we have to be on top, we have to go forward. And then to bring the people together with the group, with the players in one direction. And in the end we celebrate. We were 12 points behind, and at the end we were very successful. And I think when I count at the moment where we are and which gap we have to close, then it could be exactly the same situation, and this is what I like, to challenge this.
Yeah, what are you like as a coach?
I must say I like the feeling in the stadium, and then especially after wins, the feeling in the dressing room to celebrate with your players. And for me it's also important that people go home after a game and they are happy what they see, and this gives me a lot of love in my heart. To see people happy, to smile when they speak about Rangers. And I think from this part it makes so much fun to be a head coach.
What can the supporters expect to see from your team?
Yeah, at first wins, because this is the most important key. we have not so much time, but I will not take this as excuses. We know where we are, and we know in which direction we want to go. We want to play attacking football. That means we have to press very high, we have to press with intensity, we have to be connected in all the parts of the game. We need good transition moments in both directions, and that means every player on the pitch has to hunt the ball. And finally, we want to create a lot of chances and goals. And this is why people go in the stadiums. They want to see not draws or small wins, they want to see exciting wins. And this is what I'm trying now from the day to day until, I'm here.
What do you expect from Scottish football?
Yeah, I think it's a very demanding league, very intensive. You will have some different challenges as well, especially when you go away. You have different kind of stadiums. I think this is always also a challenge for us, but I think my group will handle all those things, and I'm really looking forward. I jumped in the championship 2 years ago on a point where, of course, you follow the videos, the games and the clips and so on, but if you are then and you can feel it, then it makes really fun to be in such a league. And we are a huge club, and we should control the game every time.
The squad that is here at the moment, what do you make of the squad here?
I think we have a great balance with very exciting young talent players. One of them I could train the last 2 years. I'm very proud of him. And on the other side, we have also experienced one, and I think this is exactly what we need. We need a great balance. I'm a coach who is looking forward to work with experienced one and young one, because this is not about the age, it's just about the quality of players. And when I look to the squad, I must say we have really good players. But, and this is now my job to do, bring the quality on the pitch from the players and make from the individual quality a good team with a high quality, and this is what I want to do.
It is, of course, straight into the fixtures, straight into an important run of fixtures. What will be key for you in these early stages of working with the players?
Yeah, I think I said this very, very often now, to win games. When you look to the schedule, I'm very excited because you have completely different challenges. You go to Europe, you have games in the league, then we have an important cup game as well. And in the next 3 weeks, we can really influence our season. And I think with this mindset, we have to go in these games, that we can win, that we have the quality, but we have to work and we have to invest a lot.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Cheers for that, folks. GB, again, like any head coach or managerial appointment, he's saying the right things. The proof will always be in the pudding. And obviously he's got very little time before the first game come around Thursday night away to Bran in Europa League. There's no easy start off. It's straight in, roll the sleeves up, pardon the pun, and get to work with these players. And it actually just dawned on me, listening to that interview, he worked with Gassama. So maybe we might see a different version of Gassama as well under Danny Rule.
Aye, it was his tactics, mate, that kind of put Gassama on the radar, a lot of folk, mate. So we need to give credit there. And like I says, he's that last game of the season for Sheffield Wednesday, we were playing Sunderland, and it was a game they needed to win. So then they won it 2-0. And that's what kept him up, mate. So he's played in a high pressure game there. I mean, that's sustaining in that championship's mega. You know what I mean? So it's he can clearly handle pressure. And the players, I noticed that the players, when they were celebrating with the manager, that they were very all together, which was good to see. And I do hope he brings that kind of atmosphere to the dressing room. It seems a very kind of Klopp kind of atmosphere that he's bringing. to his dressing rooms and stuff like that. So, I mean, all that's positive, mate. All the background's positive. The thing that scares me is he's a kind of guy that plays the 4-2-3-1 still. He's time in the championship. Russell Martin's been able to smash him twice. One was like a 4-0 result as well. His win rates, I mean, you're looking at 38%, 34 wins, 19 draws, 36 losses. Again, I know that they had their time where there were things going on behind the scenes with that team and stuff like that. So maybe he's one is totally in it, but it's like the whole thing. Can he play in a cold, wet night in Stoke? It's like, can he play in a cold, wet night up in Dundee or Aberdeen and stuff like that when you need to get the result? That's going to be the telling point for this guy. And has he got the squad there to do it? That's the other thing. As we've seen, there was no proper manager in charge at the weekend there, and we're still seeing the team tailing off. So big job for him, mate. It's going to be interesting. How are you honestly feeling about it, mate? Because I like it says, you're probably in the same kind of camp where you were thinking it was Stevie G was coming back, and it's again for me, it's all on the board, mate. The disappointment. It's an absolute kind of farce, to be honest, mate.
Well, what I said in the show, mate, after the days after Russell Martin gets sacked, was there was no obvious standout candidate. You go back to the times where, as soon as Steven Gerrard's name is mentioned about being interested in the job or potentially coming, everybody was shouting for Steven Gerrard. Then we were all shouting for Giovanni to come, and we got him. This time around, there was no 100% name coming from all the supporters, so there's no obvious standout for me. Come to think on it, time goes on, you maybe look at Gerrard and Muscat and say probably the two top candidates. When you look at everybody else that was listed, mate, they're probably the only two that had some sort of credentials that merited being linked with the job, never mind being in charge of the club. When they two knocked it back, I'll be honest, mate, I was worried about where that left us, because the list of names that were mentioned, nothing really jumped out at you. And again, no disrespect to Danny Rowe, I hope he does well. Like, is he my first choice? Is he even the club's first choice? No. But he's been appointed. He can only work with what he's got now. As you said, up until January, his hands are tied with this squad he's got. But it's down to his management whether he's good enough to get a tune out of these players and get a reaction and get performances and results. That'll be down to his management. But a lot of that comes from the players as well. Their desire, their appetite, their hunger to try and be winners and successful at our club. You can't be successful without winning games. So the players need to take some onus on that as well. But I don't know, mate. I'm still on the fence, because I just feel we could have had something different. Even back at the summer, when we had the highs of the takeover, the buzz about it, we thought we'd maybe go and make a statement managerial signing, and went up with Russell Martin. This one, you had the buzz about Gerrard, it fell through. Then had the links with Muscat, people watching Chinese Football League just to get an idea of his tactics and his style, to then fall through. To now going with Danny Rowe, I just feel, again, no disrespect, it feels again anticlimactic for where we are as a club and where we should be as a club, which is two different things. We should be streets ahead where we are, but this is the kind of managers that we are hiring now. And I said it before as well in our show. It's fine saying we would take this manager, A, B, C. It's whether the managers are interested in us. And quite clearly, from what we've seen in the past week, there are a very limited number of managers who's actually interested in our job at our club now, which shouldn't be the case. As soon as you mention Rangers to any potential manager, they should jump at the chance. Whereas now, they're head scratching. But I hope he's successful. I hope he gets a tune at the players. We can only judge on what we see going forward. He's not got a lot of time ahead of Thursday night, so how quickly can he get something from Thursday? Because it's a European game, and there's no free hit at our club. Absolutely not. So he's got to go and get a result there. And if he gets a result, puts him in good stead, puts him in good start, it's a foundation. That's my thought on it. But he's not got a lot of time. But one thing I think he's got to do as well is his backroom staff. I know that's been mentioned a few times tonight on the feeds on social media. We don't know who his backroom staff's going to be. I think he needs to get that right as well. And it would not surprise me if there is a Rangers connection there, just for somebody to understand what it actually means to be in that position. So we'll see what happens over the coming days, mate.
Robert, do we know, or has anyone said, or even hinted about who's going to get in? Would they be, just for saying it, Barry Ferguson and the guys that were there before, the local guys, you know, Neil McCann, company. Is it anything like that? Or I don't know. So I'm just asking, maybe you've heard.
You'll hear all sorts of rumours, Bridge. There's rumours of Stephen Davis being linked, Lee Wallace being linked. Nothing to solidify the rumours. Time will tell. I'd imagine over the next couple of days we'll hear something. Obviously he's got a game on Thursday night. Does he get staff in before then? Or do we see the staff maybe added in for the weekend's game? Time will tell, mate. But I just think
we'll need it. But we would need it, Robert. If these guys, whomever they are, he's going to bring in, they need to be registered for Europe with the Rangers. You know what I mean? Otherwise, they can't go. We're talking about Thursday night. We're talking about 3 days. Obviously, yep. I'm not trying to be stupid. I think that if they've got someone, they'll be maybe even got them in now, and they're getting them registered. That's what I would hope is happening. But I hope it's not as stuttering as this. You know, I know the guy's just in the door 10 minutes, but that's what I'm concerned about now. At the moment, the manager's here. Has he got a backroom team? Has he bringing someone with him? These are the questions I'm asking. And can they all be part of Rangers in the European area? Simple question, isn't it?
Everything's a simple question. I think we've been joined by Matt. Evening, Matt.
Evening, guys.
How you doing, mate? What's on your mind?
Not bad. I am the most negative person. So my question is, right, what happens? I don't like this appointment, right? But what happens if this guy loses just the same way as Russell Martin? Do you think he'll get sacked? I know he's not played the game yet, but I'm just hypothetically, I'm just asking that question.
I'll start by taking the fifth and pass it to GB first. GB.
I'm like a straight shooter, mate. I'll get you honest. I think he will, mate. We kind of see where the board's at with gaining that 2.5-year contract. In the past, we've been handing out 4-year contracts, 5-year contracts, and all the rest of it. So clearly they're being a bit cagey and waiting to see, or maybe it's on his side. Maybe he's waiting to see what happens with the progression of the club and stuff like that. With the agreement of the 2.5-year deal. So I think if it goes anything like Russell Martin, mate, then we've got to be looking at what can we do better? What are we doing wrong? I mean, are the players responding to the coach? Are the players responding to the tactics? And that's what was undoubtedly Russell Martin's failure, that the players weren't responding to what he wanted on a Saturday, mate. And if it's the same again, why can we stick with that? I don't see the reason sticking with something that's failing. We've got to change it up, or else you'll see what we've been seeing with fans protesting, fans not turning up to games, European nights half empty. You can't have that, mate. These guys that came to buy the club are looking for the European nights that we've seen during Seville and all the rest of it, mate. So boy's got a big job in his hands, mate. I wish him all the luck, but says if it doesn't go well, then I think next summer you'd be looking at somebody else again, mate.
Matt, I'll take your point to Bridge as well, mate, but just when the guys are answering your question, if you can stick yourself on mute, we're just getting some feedback mate, from your phone. Cheers, buddy. I'll bring you back in. Bridge, man, same question to you from Matt. If it doesn't go well, will he be another sacking, another mark against the board? Well,
we're sitting here tonight, and you've got to say to the manager that it's in the door. You know, if we can't give him a couple of months to see how he does, then we're in a really bad way. Other than that, if we bring him in and he has a really bad time then he needs to go. It's obvious he needs to go. But not only will he have to go, I'm sure that most of the Rangers fans all over the world would be thinking, we can't have two, we can't be 3 times unlucky. So we've lost out on Gerrard because of certain people. We've lost out on a few others. We've got this guy through the door now, and if he can't make it, who's picking them? Who's picking these managers that can't make it for Rangers? And why? Why do they think these guys can make it? But I don't want to get into insulting the guy or calling names or anything like that. But these are the questions that I would ask. And the 2 people at the present moment who are responsible for bringing in this young lad are sitting there as Patrick Stewart and I can't remember everyone's name now till he goes on. But you know what I mean.
Kevin Fairwell.
So that's him. So you get 2 chaps there who are getting away with murder. Based on what we know, our club's absolute shambles. The football is terrible still, you know. And these guys are in charge of that. They see all this. A lot of the buck's got to stop at them. That's the only thing I would say. I'm not going to blame this manager who's just walked in the door. I'm not going to say to him, well, you got a fortnight to get. That's wrong. We shouldn't be doing anything like that. Let the guy get in there and let him do it. However, knowing where we are, we're Rangers, and we know all the pressure that's going to be is we want to be able to get in and get a couple of good games in Europe, get some money in, cash in the door, and all these great things. We want to be able to do that. If the manager can come in and convert our team into something akin to somebody he can manage and be confident of winning games, then we have to let him go and do it. But obviously, we're speaking the worst. Matt's right. If just to ask a question, which he's doing, what are we going to do if it doesn't work for him? If he doesn't do it, what are we going to do? He's got to go. It's as simple as that. It's clear in the nose in your face. Simple as that. But as I said, he can't go alone. He can't go alone. No, this time. He can't go alone. There's 2 people there that have ruled over all this up to this present time. And each time it's been a dreadful couple of weeks and months. It's just shocking. That's all I've got to say about that.
Matt, just before we go to the tune, mate, you said at the start of your call that you're not happy with this appointment. What's your reasoning behind it, mate? And is it just results that's going to change that for you, or are you certain that this is not the right appointment? What's your thoughts on it, mate?
Well, my point, the appointment thing was, I don't believe Patrick Stewart and Kevin Fairwell should be there. This guy's a 3rd choice. We all know there's the rumours coming out that Gerrard knocked it back because of Fairwell wants to be in charge with his wee baby boy. Patrick Stewart's a season ticket holder at Aberdeen. But that's the reason. It's nothing against the guy. You know what I mean? He had a really bad time. Was it Sheffield Wednesday or United? I can't remember what one he was at.
Sheffield Wednesday.
Right, so that one, the money issues down there. But he done well. He kept him up. And then they go to 12th, I believe, his second spell, wasn't it? Or was it? Well, whatever it was, it wasn't his results, but his 3rd choice, and the names that you said earlier, the list of names that were coming out, I just feel like there's no ambition for these 2, Kevin Fairwell and that. But I don't believe in these American owners know what they're doing with Rangers. They've bought a club that they know nothing about. That's my whole thing. I wish they would have took time over the summer and really looked. I think Kevin Fairwell has to go. If this manager fails, which I don't want, I think Fairwell has to go before next year.
We'll certainly pick up on your point, mate, on that topic after the tune. If you don't mind, if you get yourselves on mute, it's time to have a tune.
When I was born, was taught to me of glory's past.
why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Cheers for that again, Fox, and be all back, lads.
All back, mate.
GB Matt touched on there. Obviously, if this appointment is not right, then a lot of questions will be asked about Kevin Felwell again. Now, there's already a lot of scrutiny with the appointment of Russell Martin, the recruitment. This ultimately is arguably his last roll of the dice.
It is, mate, and maybe not so much the last roll of dice for the owners as well, as much touching on with American owners. But it's definitely not got a hold them in good light, because this whole takeover was meant to be massive, mate. We're meant to, like I say, clear our feet, build a good team, appoint a strong manager, and challenge. I mean, that's what the I can mind that Marag is saying about his speech. He was like, he was saying like, oh, you'll have the full backing of the 49ers enterprise. I'm still waiting to see this. I'm still waiting to see this juggernaut coming in to help Rangers. I mean, we've got contacts in all these different clubs around the world. We've got the 49ers ourselves. I mean, these guys are strong businessmen. And I can mind when it was first rumoured about them coming in, I said to Ox at the time, I says, I hope these guys are not wet behind the ears. And Ox said to me, he says, well, they're no rich for a reason. But what I was meaning was, I hope they're not wet behind the ears with actual Rangers and trying to date on the cheap. You know what I mean? I know they've invested heavily in this squad and stuff like that, but when you look at, like, say, Patrick Stewart and Felwell and stuff like that, these guys don't seem to be the top of their game. And I honestly did think that the 49ers and that would have come in and really put people in strong positions, mate, that would have allowed us time to build things, but at least see progression. And what we are seeing now, mate, is we're not really seeing progression. We're seeing coaches getting put in charge of Rangers football teams, and I don't like that, mate. I think that it's got to be a proper manager with a good, decent director of football above that they can work together. But there's an understanding there that it's his team, it's his way kind of thing. But this way that it's doing it now, you're leaving it to guys that are no really, they've got experience in football, but you're turning there, you're trying to get a coach, like, you're trying to, is the quote's been going about at the weekend there, you're trying to give somebody a Mert, but you're turning up with the mini Metro. I mean, it's that kind of philosophy, and I just don't think it works, mate. Not our club, anyway. I think we've tried it before, and we've seen how it can collapse. But then we've seen with Gerrard, when we had the director of football with Gerrard and stuff like that, not so much Scott Wilson, but the boy before that worked really well. I mean, we scouted brilliantly. So I'm a bit lost with Rangers now, mate, to be honest.
Matt, one thing you mentioned there was the owners maybe not understanding the real magnitude of our club and the standards and expectations on the club as a whole. One name that's been mentioned over the past 2 or 3 weeks was David Weir as a potential alternative as a director of football. But do you think even at the current setup, if they had somebody like him as an advisor on the board between, I know you've got Greta Stenson there, but somebody that maybe just knows Rangers inside out, would that maybe be a step in the right direction?
Yes, I don't have an issue with a director of football. I just have an issue with Farewell, right? We'll forget that. But I do think they need somebody in between the manager and a director of football. As you said, the 2 previous directors of football with Gerrard worked pretty well. But I think somebody like Davy Weir's doing nothing but pundit work now. So why not bring him? Well, a lot of people would turn around and say, oh, but Barry should be the manager. Barry had his turn, never worked out. I think this guy should be given a chance, but I'm wondering if the issue with the the club is these two people, and maybe the owners, and not so much the manager or head coach. But Davy Weir, I would take Davy Weir in a heartbeat, definitely.
I think you make a valid point, and I'll come to bridge with it. It's widely speculated, and again, we're not privy to the inside conversations that happen between potential candidates and the board and the owners. But if you look at what is rumoured to have happened, Bridge, talks with Gerrard got to an advanced stage, talks with Muscat got to an advanced stage, then they broke down. And these were after deals agreed in principle, from what we've led to believe. So Matt raises a good point. The stumbling blocks for both candidates before Rowe was appointed appear to be with Stewart and Felwell. And I know that's easy to say because that's what's in the media and we don't know otherwise. But you look at it, Bridge, and you wonder, how potent is that a potential issue?
Well, you know, it's kind of, this chap we've got as a centre forward at the moment, I don't know how much it costs. Some people say 8, others pay 10 million, valued at that. And I'm thinking to myself, well, you could have went and took that 10 million and went and get Gerrard, because apparently, and I don't know this for a fact, but apparently that was a big stumbling block. There was a sum of money required to bankroll Gerrard tax-wise or something. I don't know where the rumour came from, and I'm thinking, well, it's there. He's sitting on the bench all the time. That big centre forward we got. You know, and there may be others there that were bought in under these two, the two guys I mentioned, Thelwell and Stewart. I don't think these guys have got Rangers at heart. I don't think these guys know anything about Rangers, other than that they're their employers at the moment. I'm absolutely shocked, so shocked that Thelwell was brought in. Was it his son? I think it was his son. What's his son got? His son going to do? He can't do nothing. His son not going to do it. Sorry, pal. I interrupted you.
No, I was just confirming, mate. You're right. It was his son that's been given a job as head of recruitment, I believe.
Well, I mean, so he's he's going to be, or he is head of recruitment. So he's got another 3 months to go before he can get any recruiting done. You know what I mean? You're expecting that guy should be out, round about, whatever. Is that the same name for a chief scout? Or is he just a head of recruitment as a managerial role to sit up at Auchenhowie and get an office and say I'm a director or whatever? You know, I just don't know. I just don't see it. I think it's a dreadful thing to happen, is to bring somebody in who haven't succeeded under any circumstances. They have not succeeded. In fact, they're failing miserably. And he's bringing in his son. No, I'm sorry. It's just not there for me. However, unfortunately for everybody in the world, I don't own Rangers, because it would be completely different if I owned them. And they should, even if you put that to people on the sort of outside world there, and you know, they would come back and tell you similar to Army. These guys wouldn't be there. If any fan out there with Rangers at heart had owned Rangers, you know they wouldn't have the people. They wouldn't have the people in. It wouldn't be like this. It'd be completely different. So, but we're stuck. Sorry, I've me going on again. Sorry.
No, not at all, mate. Entitled to your opinion. GB, as I said, there's obviously question marks over the past weeks and months of Felwell and Stewart. Now, if there's questions about them, the onus then lies with the owners to recognise that they could be a stumbling block. Because I'll be honest, I personally think, with what we were led to believe in the media, if we did not have the setup we've got, or had a different director of football, I personally don't think we'd have Danny Rowe announced today. I think Gerrard would have come back. Now, that's just my honest opinion based on what is in the media. Might be wrong, but that's my gut feeling. So if that's a stumbling block that some of us have got, some of us can see, why can't the owners? Or are they?
It's a hard one, Robert. Like he says, we'll never know the full story. But one thing, I think the way the PR side of things with this managerial search has been going on has been terrible for the club. I mean, again, you've got the 49ers enterprise. I thought all the advice and expertise that's all in the background would be all of this, and making sure it's all professional, mate. And it looks very unprofessional for these guys with the wealth that they've got behind them. I'm just so surprised how amateurish it looks. You know what I mean? And again, if they're backing Patrick Stewart and Farewell Stephen Gerrard, when Gerrard's proved that he's won a title here, he's renowned throughout the world. I mean, you see him in the news away out there doing exhibition games and stuff like that. I mean, the background, the football knowledge, you know, I don't get why they would pick, or they wouldn't try and persuade him more. Now, to be honest, if it's that way that they've went to Gerrard and they've done everything they can to get him, and he's asked for something that they can't provide, then that's fair enough. But I would just rather that they came out and maybe it'll come out in the manager's interview or whatever when it happens with the press and stuff like that things will be explained. But I think they will need to explain it, mate, just to get everybody on the same page again, because then I think we can get actually behind the boy, Danny Rowe. I think we can at least try and give the boy a chance and see how he gets on, and maybe give him the time to put at least his coaching philosophy into the team and see how they adapt to that. But again, when you're getting publicly knocked back twice after 2 targets, and it's because they didn't like the setup, then I mean, you would think you would change the setup to accommodate the guys, eh?
Can I come in there?
And you go, Fox.
I'll play a wee bit of devil's advocate here. Would Stephen Gerrard have took the Liverpool job if he was only offered the job as head coach? Of course he would have. He'd have jumped at it. Stephen Gerrard came into negotiations with Rangers, in my point of view, thinking that he was bigger than Rangers were. This board and management, our owners, have stated from the beginning what their purpose was with Rangers, how they were going to go ahead with plans to run Rangers and make them successful. They haven't altered for that. Kevin Muscat was the same. He wanted a job on his demands as well. About waiting 8 weeks, I think the board thought the lure of Ibrox would be enough to make him change his mind. It wasn't. Danny Rowe has come in and took the job because he fits what the model was of what the management were offering. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think Rangers and the owners should have final say in everything they do. That's my point.
Aye, Fox, I can see your point, mate, and I'll pick up on the Gerrard one. When you're saying that he wanted it in his terms, in terms of being bigger than the club, we have not changed our stalls from the summer appointment. And if Gerrard was spoken to then, he knew what our setup would be. He knew that it'd be a head coach and not a manager. So I would question why he entered talks again at this time around.
Well, I would say that Gerrard thought that we were that desperate that the board would fold to anything. And obviously the board haven't folded to any demands. They're stuck to their theory of how they're going to run the club. Gerrard didn't want it that way and stepped back. And it's the same with Muscat, mate. So everybody's saying that the board role is a bad third choice. I think he fits what the board model is. And I think he should be given a chance. And as for Thelwell and the boy above them, nobody knows what their remit is. I don't think Thelwell buys the players, mate. I think he negotiates the terms on what's agreed between the scouting team and the manager. And he's the one that goes in and makes the deals. I think he's getting a raw deal as well. That's only my opinion.
I'll take it round the board, Fox. Matt?
Right, I can counter that. But I totally disagree with what he's saying, right? if Walter Smith was still here, would Walter Smith join that club now?
I
That way.
think Walter Smith would have took the job on the terms. Yes, I do, because
don't
he
believe that
was
for
a
1
Rangers
second.
man. Well, he took the terms and been second best as an assistant to Graham Souness, mate. Would he have took the job as a manager at the time, although he was inexperienced as well? Of course he would. And after a few amount of games, most of the fans wanted rid of Walter Smith as well, if you remember.
I was a baby back then.
Well, I wasn't. I was there, mate.
I was a wee boy.
I'm not being kind of argumentative here.
No, everybody's entitled to their opinion.
I've read everything on the forums. I've listened to podcasts, and nobody knows the true picture at Ibrox, but they're all prepared to go out in these wild theories about things that they think is correct, when in fact, like me, nobody knows the correct story. And I think it's time the fans go together, back the manager. Might not be great at the start, but we'll just have to give it time. That's my opinion. Sorry, mate.
So it's Foxy. Did you actually think that the previous manager did a good job?
No, I think it was a bad mistake, but they brought in the manager on to run the football side of the club, manage it on the terms that they bought Rangers and how they thought they could run it and be successful.
Okay.
It was terrible. It turns out it was a terrible signing, mate, to pick him as a manager. But at the time, he fitted the bill.
Sure, but I think that one of the things that a couple of us have said is that it wasn't the 49ers that picked that manager. It was Thelwell and Stewart.
You don't know that, mate. You definitely don't know that.
Whoa. To our knowledge, they went and got him. And all we're saying is, if the question earlier from Matt, what happens if this young lad that comes in doesn't make it or makes mistakes or whatever under pressure? What do we do? And a lot of folk will say the same as me. Obviously, you can't afford to go 4 months with a guy that's struggling and fighting, just like the previous manager. But the people above, i.e. the two chaps above, who, to our knowledge, are the people who brought them in, they need to answer for it.
Well, that's correct. If Gerrard had come in and hadn't made a good run at it for 4 months, he'd be the same position, mate. We would want rid of him. That's the way Rangers supporters are, mate. We're so demanding. We don't give time to anything. Russell Martin was a complete and utter failure. We all realised that kind of early, but they tried to give him time to turn it round. It didn't work. And it could have been the same way Muscat. Muscat could have come in and we could have been in the same boat as well. You know, I mean, if you don't win at Ibrox, you're not used to your support. That's the whole bottom line, mate. So we could go through another 10 managers in 5 years.
Yeah, of course we could. All I'm saying is that if something happens with this manager, unfortunately, I don't think it will. Yeah, I think this manager's going to do quite well for himself, but he's got to bed himself in and get the support to back him. And all I'm asking is for everybody to support the manager and let him get through the first month to see how he does. You know, he's not going to do much worse than what's happened, I would suggest. But
thanks for giving me my say, lad. Sorry for butting in.
Don't be talk is.
No, don't be disappearing. Don't be disappearing, Foxy boy. No, it's great to hear the Fox on the Rangers radio, man. I love it when a big man comes on. Makes great points. And the only thing I would say is with Gerrard, when he first came in, he instantly got that European run going. We were competing against Celtic. We got that win with Ryan Jack and that scoring the goal at Ibrox and stuff, and kind of stopped that rot that was happening at Ibrox with the old firms and stuff like that. So as a fan base, and the way Gerrard interacted with us as fans as well, the way he spoke in interviews, you were always just fired up for every game, and you were always right behind him because of how he presented it, how he presented the team, how he presented himself, how he explained bad results, but he explained bad draws, stuff like that. And even to the very end, let's say, when we finally got 55, I mean, there was that second season syndrome where we were thinking that he could have got sacked after the Hearts game and stuff like that, or he was ready to walk away. But we stuck with it, and eventually that season we won 55, and now everybody goes on, it was COVID season with no pressure and all the rest of it. To go unbeaten out a full season, these players that were turning up against us, they weren't going out for a picnic. They were going out to play football as well. So at the end of the day, we went a whole season undefeated, and we won the title, and the most important title probably in our club's history. And from that, like I says, we were right behind the guy. What I hope for Danny when he's coming in here is that he has the same kind of instant impact. He seems to have a great rapport with the fans. I've seen the Sheffield Wednesday stuff. He has a good rapport with the players. So if he can get us fired up and right behind us, then hopefully, like I says, we'll see the same kind of impact as Gerrard. But he's got to show us something. It can't be the Russell Martin thing where it's like, I'm really disappointed in these certain players because they're not doing what they're told and all that. If the excuses start coming and stuff, then the fans will just switch off again. So we need something to get behind, and it's up for Danny to find that, unfortunately.
Matt, there'll be a lot of supporters out there like yourself, and I've got to commend you, mate. You've come on, you've said that you don't agree with the appointment, and I'll applaud you for being honest about it. It's similar if you look at the appointment of Russell Martin in the summer, where fans right away were against it, and he never turned it round. Obviously, performances, results made it inevitable. What's your hope that for Danny Rowe, that like yourself, there'll be a few fans out there, or more than a few, that are not happy with this appointment, but what's it going to take to turn that around to get you on board? Is it results? Is it performances? Is it more action and talk than we saw with Russell Martin?
Right, so can I answer that point but then ask a question if that's possible after I make my point, or will I wait till you've went through everybody?
No, of course you can, mate. Floor's yours.
Right. Okay. I don't have, as I said at the start, I don't have an issue with this guy, right? I hope he goes on a run and wins in Europe this week coming, beats Celtic in the Cup and goes on a winning streak, right? But as I said, I'm just worried. No for him, for the two above him. So I want him to be successful. I want Rangers to be successful. So that's my answer to that. I don't know, is Fox still there?
He's listening.
He's
right.
Listening, he can hear you.
Right, okay, good. My question to him is, because I don't think he answered it earlier, is if this man does fail, which I hope he doesn't, would he want the two above him to be let go? That's the only question I have.
Well, if they keep making the wrong decisions, they'll just let everybody, the managers, mate, they will eventually go. But again, they two are taking, I'm not sticking up for them, mate, but they might be taking the flak where it is the two above them that is telling them what to do. We don't know, mate. That's all I'm saying, Matt, is nobody knows, bar the people at the top of Rangers, what exactly is going on. And they're running it like a business. Unfortunately for us fans, they don't explain everything.
Yeah.
You know, that's more than the answer to that, mate, you know.
No, that's great. That's fine. That's all I wanted to know. Cheers.
That's one thing I'll bring up. I noticed, obviously, today, it's quite obvious that it didn't happen. When we've appointed managers or head coaches in the past, obviously more so managers than a head coach, but we've always had a press conference, an unveiling. Today we didn't, which, again, you could understand given the heat around the Farewell and Stewart, that situation. But does it not, maybe I'm looking at it too much, does that not tell you something that they knew they were going to be asked hard questions and have maybe avoided having a press conference? Rich?
Yeah, your thoughts are right there when you're thinking about it. Is, you know, why do Rangers do anything nowadays that can be thought to be controversial? I think anything they do is quite controversial. So if I mean, why wasn't there a press conference today? You know, I'm not just asking you. I'm just saying, why wasn't there a press conference today? Was it too late? You know, was it just too much to arrange? Are we going to have it on on Wednesday before the game? All these things are there. I don't know what and why. Obviously, Rangers board have been very busy in getting this chap signed up, and well done to them for doing it. And I hope it all works out. But you're right. Are we changing? Are we starting to change and forget all about the press conferences or introductions or whatever? I don't know. The new people that are running it may be running it entirely different to what we think, what we expect, because of, well, certainly with me anyway. I like to see all the managers coming in and a TV camera and getting signed and say, here's our new manager. You know, just like we saw with Graham. So I'd like to interest in your new manager, Graham Souness. Oh, the whole world went mental. And that's what we're looking for. I'm not saying they're going to go mental with this boy, or not. No, maybe they won't, or maybe they will. I don't know. But I just want it to be right, and in some form of tradition, in some sort of traditional way that Rangers fans know and like to see, and that makes it real for them when they see it. And what I've seen is they've seen the guy getting interviewed, and he gives it on here, his interview. But is that the last? Normally, you're going to find out within a short space of time who's going to be coming in for him, who's coming in with him, who's his coaches. We've got a manager, but we ain't got a coach. Unless, of course, they know they're going to have some local guys, ex-Rangers players that have got coaching badges, and they're going to come in and they can walk right into the European area. I don't know. But I'll tell you, it'd be nice for Rangers to do that and do it in a structured manner. It'd be really nice.
GB, obviously there'll be fans out there that won't want to listen to what Farewell and Stewart have to say at a manager unveiling, but I think as fans, given the process of what's happened over the 2 weeks, we deserve some form of communication. I'm not saying that we're entitled to know all the ins and outs, but I think for transparency, clarity, there should have been at least a press conference where questions are asked and we get answers. Might not be the ones we want to hear, might not be all the answers, but I just think by not having the press conference or unveiling, it maybe suggests or asks more questions about the communication between us as supporters and the club.
There's not a fans advisory board meeting tonight at Ibrox, so I think you maybe get some answers out of that tomorrow.
But if that's the case for tonight, again, that's not public. There's obviously the fan advisory board will release the minutes and the notes from that. But I just think when you look back at tradition of unveilings, there's always been a press conference. Again, maybe Matt was right or Bridge was right. Was it about timing? Could we maybe not get a press conference? The media can be scrambled within minutes to put a camera in front of a guy in a room. I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, and maybe it was a bit of avoidance from the board in terms of Stewart and Farewell, but I just feel it would have been better to have some communication, kind of presentation.
Avoidance or were they giving Danny Roll the chance to say his bit, because if the press would have been there, it would have been all about Farewell and Stewart, mate, and taking the glimmer of wee bit of shine off of the manager. Do you think that was the sensible thing to do today, regarding the way the fans feel about they two?
I get that. I get, and as I said, the start of my question was maybe I'm reading too much into it, and maybe it was best they didn't do it. So they did have Danny Roll doing the interview himself, giving him his day, because they knew questions would be about them. But I just still think, as supporters, we need a bit of communication and clarity and a bit of transparency, because that's one thing. GB, you mentioned earlier on, Parag Marat mentioned in his statement when they took over, was that there'll be full transparency, good communication, and we've not seen that over these 2 weeks.
No, and why is the chairman again not shaking hands with his new appointment? You know, again, we're talking about traditions. Even our new head coach talked about it, that this club's built in tradition and stuff like that. And I feel sorry for him, to be honest, Robert, that he's not had that opportunity to have the proper, in the blue room, sat down with all the press and all that, getting answered the questions. I do agree with Fox, maybe that it's like I says, to not make it all about the other two, but they're going to have to face the music at some point. I mean, and I would still expect, though, in the coming, they're going to obviously have a presser for the European game. So I'm expecting a lot to be revealed then from our new head coach. I want to know who the backroom team's going to be, because even in his interview of the day, there was not one question to say, like, who you got to be bringing with. Every other manager that's came in, there's always been that wee snippet for RTV that says, who you bringing with you, or who's got to be your assistant manager, or something like that. There's been nothing of that, and that all adds up to me, mate. Is like it's been a panic signing. I mean, it's been a panic appointment. We've got to just do it. We get this done today. We get him in. I mean, and now we'll deal with the backroom team as it comes. I mean, that guy's, if it's got to run the way it's got to run, he's got to be working with like Stevie Smith, the under-19s coach. I mean, this is Glasgow Rangers. Like, I mean, I know that we've got high standards and stuff like that, but come on, for all the stuff they're telling us in the summer about how they're going to bring all this experience, all this power, and the full force of the 49ers and all this stuff. Again, I'm just not seeing it, mate. They're like, where are they? Where is all these other entities that are helping them? I mean, you think they would just be bringing in all their best experts just to get this ball rolling? Because if you're, say for talking six, they're treating us like a business. First thing you've got to do is bring in your best to get the business up and running well. You know what I mean? All the guys that's helped you build your other businesses well. It just seems to be that we're kind of like the run to the family kind of thing. It's like that kind of way that we're just the kind of cheap option now. And that's where I'm kind of more annoyed, that I was expecting when this take care happened that we would just not so much go in and spend mega money, but I thought it would be sound appointments. And I know every manager's like a guarantee, but like I says, where we're kind of in the market now with coaches and stuff like that, I think it's a bit of a dangerous market to be working in.
Well, the backroom staff, we mentioned it earlier on in the show, there's also been no confirmation. There's been rumours of who could be on his backroom staff. Interestingly enough, his assistant from Sheffield Wednesday is actually now the manager at Sheffield Wednesday. So he needs a new assistant and he needs a coaching staff. And I'm a wee bit surprised that there hasn't maybe been a mention of that before or included in today's announcement. And you're right, GB, as it stands at this point in time, with no other confirmation, it could be that Stevie Smith and Brian Gilmore is his two in the dugout on Thursday night with him, until obviously further announcements are made, which once we get them, we'll post on socials when it's confirmed. But Matt, I said earlier, I think that's a key that is going to be crucial and kind of his success, if he is to be successful at the club, which we'll hope he is, that the backroom staff is somebody that's going to work with him, but work with our players as well, and try and get that harmony back between the fans and the club, but also the players as well.
Yeah, I'd agree. I don't know who I would want, no. Stevie Smith, no. Just keep him as the coach under 19s. I don't know if Davy Weir would take a assistant coach job. Alex Ray's been there, done it. What about maybe Ian Durant? Has he not got his coaching badges?
Aye, he has, mate. To see, I think he has. I think he's been involved it long enough that he'll have them. But I don't know about yourself, Matt, but I don't see any harm if he was to look at a guy like Neil McCann for a kind of tactician and an analyst kind of thing, the way he reads the game, understands it. Could he maybe be part of it? And he was there with Barry.
Yeah, well, was he not linked with Kevin Muscat? McCann.
He was, yep. For sure.
I would take him. I would take Barry if Barry would take the assistant job. I would say aye to Barry. I would agree. I think they need that stability. with the fans. The fans have got to back this guy. But the problem is, if he lost on Thursday, the fans are going to be on him. If they get better off Celtic, the fans are going to be on him. So he'll be an uphill battle. But I hope he does good. I really do.
Some of the other names that have been mentioned, again, it's only been rumours so far, is, I don't know if you heard earlier on the show, I mentioned that Stephen Davis, Lee Wallace were rumoured or suggested to be potential involvement in the backroom staff. Stephen Davis is obviously currently assisting at Northern Ireland as well with Michael O'Neill. Another player who gets Rangers has got the credentials. Obviously was also part of, prior to Clement, taking charge of the club as well for a brief period of time, a couple of games. Again, somebody that maybe just understands it.
Right, if I was choosing, right, 1 to 3, right, Neil McCann, Steve Davis, Barry Ferguson. That would be my order. That would be my pick. Just the way the managers were with Stephen Gerrard, Kevin Muscat and Danny. That's the way I would do it. I would take Neil McCann. Is that what I said first? Neil McCann?
Neil McCann, right?
I take Neil McCann or Steve Davis first. Barry would be my last option, though I loved him as a player.
I think what you've got to remember is Barry's been quite public to say that after the summer it was either the main job or none for him. He wasn't interested in an assistant or coach. People change their minds, of course, but we'll wait and see what happens. But Bridge, what about yourself? The names that are linked there, would any of them be good enough an appointment for you within a setup under Danny Rowe? Bridgeman?
Yeah. Well, if it was me, I think I'd agree with Matt to a certain extent. I don't know if I would actually go with Barry Ferguson, but I think Stephen Davis I would go for, and Neil McCann. I think I would like them in it. We don't know, obviously we don't know what the guy's got, if he's got people set aside. Normally managers who take over a club have got their own coaching staff ready to come in, you know. So I don't know what he's got. If he's not got anyone, and then we could get three ex-Rangers players to do the business for us. And I think Stephen Davis, Sir Stephen Davis, for me would be the number one, and I'd be happy with that. And Neil McCann, I think they two are really good people for Rangers. I'm not sure about Barry Ferguson. Obviously, I think he was one of the most wonderful captains we've ever had, very inspiring. But I don't know. We watched him the last time he took over, and I'm not 100% sure that he was a major success. So I don't know. I really don't know. I'm just trying to think who I would like to put in from a Rangers perspective. Put him in, and I can't think of it. Oh, put McGregor in, goalkeeping coach. Who would I bring him in? That's what I'd go for.
It's a fair enough shout. GB, you would like to think that even though we had the initial discussions and then kind of withdrew from the process, as we're led to believe, a week or so ago, you'd like to think if he was having initial discussions with the club, he would have been having some contacts with people who would have in mind should he have got the job at that time. And then obviously transpired within the last 24 or 48 hours that those conversations that he could have had or may have had intensified to say, I'm now going, are you still on board? And you'd like to think that he maybe had a setup in mind in some sort of people in principle, so we say.
You'd hope so, Robert. Again, it's all strange with the appointment of this head coach thing. Is it just him that's getting appointed? I mean, because we've still got the goalkeeping coach in place. He never got sacked along with Russell Martin. He still kept his position. So there's like another guy that's getting added into another guy that doesn't know each other. You know what I mean? So it wouldn't surprise me that it's like, again, the director of football that's bringing in the assistant manager or the assistant coach and somebody else. You know, I really do hope it's Danny Rowe. It's got the final say on his backroom team, though. To be honest, I think he'll do better with that. Whether it needs to be Rangers boys that come in, I don't know. I would hope with his contacts that he's got, he's played in the German league, he's been a part of the German national team. Maybe we can try and get another good assistant coach for that kind of neck of the world, because let's face it, the Germans, they in the league play good football. They're always good in the internationals. So it would maybe be good to try and implement a kind of a German way of football, hopefully, throughout our club, and that we play some nice, strong football. I mean, because they're physical and all in their games and stuff. So I'm all for that. If we can play anything near how the Bundesliga play, then I'm right up for that. But I just hope that we're no hanging this guy out to dry. I really do hope that he's came in on good faith to the club, and I hope that everybody else in the background is going to try and help him be successful. Because if they're just leaving him and then they're adding in people that he doesn't really know, then it's going to be very, very hard for it all to click together, isn't it?
It does, and it goes back to the discussion earlier on we had about he takes training tomorrow, they take training Wednesday, and then they fly out to Bran to play on Thursday night. So there's not a lot of time to kind of prepare, get his ideas across. Matt, how much do you look at Thursday night's performance? I said earlier on the show, there's no free hit at Rangers, there never is. But given the short space of time, how much should we as supporters expect a change on Thursday night? Or do we class that as that's the tester for him to get involved with the players, and we'll look at Sunday's performance compared to Thursday's?
I know you're saying you shouldn't get a free hit, but I'd be happy with a draw on Thursday, and then he'll have roughly a full week for Celtic with training. I'd be happy with a draw on Thursday. I really would. I know everybody wants to win, but you can't win them all. A draw would be better than what Russell Martin's had.
We've got the game on Thursday night against Bran. Then we're at home to Kilmarnock on the Sunday. We play midweek away to Hibs, and then it's a semi-final.
Oh, right. Sorry, I forgot about
they come thick and fast.
Games.
In
When you
the
win
space of
every one of
6
them.
days. He's got 3 games in 6 days. Not a lot of time in the training ground to kind of work on ideas.
Right, sorry, I forgot about the other 2 games. It totally went out of my head.
If he's going to prove he can work under pressure,
he's got to win at home. He's got to win at home. Or he'll lose. I guarantee he'll lose half the support straight away. They'll just boo him.
I was going to say, there's no... If you're going to show you can work under pressure, there's no time like the present with the games thick and fast. And show you can work with these players. Again, the training ground aspect, there's not a lot of time to do it. So it's going to be tough for him. Good luck to him, he'll need it. There's a lot to fix. I think that's obvious.
Who would you put out on Thursday? When you get everybody else's answer. Sorry, I shouldn't ask that.
No, you're fine, mate. No. It shows all for callers. We'll take your point. Who would they set up on Thursday?
Your squad. If he does the 4-2-3-1.
I think the back 5 probably picks itself, if I'm being honest, mate. Butland, Tav, Suter, Cornelius, Magoma.
Right, okay. I would do that as well.
I don't think there's a lot of option of change in there. Giga looked okay to start with, became rocky at moments, and just didn't look like he'd recovered. Midfield, you've got Raskin. It's whether you stick with Rothwell from the weekend or you bring Diomande back in depending on his injury. We don't know his status. We'll obviously get an update on that later in the week. So you've got an option there. Your 3 has to probably be Antman, Gassama out wide. For me, I'd put Asgard in the 10 and then Miovski up front. I don't think there's... It sounds like the obvious choice, but there's not a lot that you can really base it on to say somebody can come in and do a better job, because we're basing it on recent performances.
Yeah, I would agree with that squad. That's who I would have picked. Other than Diamondi, he's lost my faith this season.
He's hardly kicked a ball. I think he only showed up in the Old Firm game, and then that was it.
Yep.
But he's not showed up, and that performance against Falkirk really just summed up his season so far. I'll take your point about the setup, and I'll go to Bridgeman first.
No
As
problem.
well. Bridge, how would you set it up on Thursday? I know it's obviously we don't know injury updates and who's available. But Matt's asking the question of how would they set it up on Thursday?
Well, I agree that we can't actually change the back five unless there's by some miracle they decide that the two centre halves we've got sitting on the bench are better than the two centre halves on the pitch. But I don't think that'll happen. In midfield, I personally, I mean this, if he's fit, if he's no under any censure and he's fit, I would have Diamondi back in and let him go on with it. I agree with you that he's not had the greatest season, but I think he's one of our most experienced players in the European League. He turns up a lot of the times, and obviously I think I would play him before the lad that likes to run. What's his name again? You just mentioned Rothwell. I'd rather have Diamondi than Rothwell, and the rest I would remain the same, because I thought once we started tramping down on top of the other teams, our forward line were really good. I thought our midfield looked good going forward, and our forward line were good and caused problems. And that's all we want. We want the right players on the park to cause the problems that they're required to do and get us goals. And I think I would go with the same team. Although, obviously, the challenge is going to be completely different. And that's up to the manager and whomever else he's got with him that's able to attend and to participate. I said it earlier, but maybe I'm wrong, but I think the ones that have got to be registered with Rangers and UEFA before they could play, right? Whomever they are, right? They can't take part. The coaches, managers, they've all got to be registered. So I don't know who we've got that's registered for Europe on our books. You know what I mean? At the present moment, I don't think Barry Ferguson's registered with Rangers as a Rangers manager. I don't know. And we're talking about Neil McCann's go. I'm not saying they're not registered with Europe, because they were, but it's a different time now. Different clubs, different. We moved on, and I think they have to be re-registered, and it has to happen very quickly for it to be okay. That's what I'm honest opinion. I really don't know, but I think that's what's going to happen. And I'm hoping that this guy's got 3 or 4 compatriots they can bring straight in behind them, and they'll all get registered.
I'd like to think, Bridge, if there is a backroom staff being sounded out, that the work's going on in the background to get the clearance and registration done, and maybe that suggests why there's no announcement, because they're waiting for the confirmation that they'll be available to be with the squad on Thursday night. Again, only speculating and assuming that's the way we'd think it would work behind the scenes.
Well, we're hoping. That's why I'm saying, here we go. And when are we playing? We're playing on Thursday, and they have to be registered. I don't know at what time, how many hours before the game actually takes place. I don't know, but you're speaking that you've only got 3 days, so you have to be have them registered. I would suggest by Wednesday. It's only me talking. We may in fact be all right up until kick-off, but I don't think so. I think they've got to be registered and on their forms before Thursday. So it's a deadline, isn't it? A big deadline. If I don't know what they're going to do. I'm only asking questions like a lot of folk, because I don't know. I hope it's okay.
I'm entitled to ask a question, but I think it's a very important question, because we all want to know who is going to be behind Danny Rowe in this managerial setup that we've got. GB, what about yourself? Going back to the team on Thursday, how would you set it up? Is it quite a straightforward pick? Because, as I said, there's been no standout performances to say that maybe somebody deserves a chance more than the other.
Aye, yeah, it's an easy pick for me, mate. The same setup as that first half of the weekend there, mate. Just send that same team out, and just hopefully Danny can get some of his messages across at the back, because he was supposedly if his stats and all the rest of it, he was a defender himself, the boy. So I'm hoping that he can implement some stuff quickly to help the back line, or to help the shape anyway in the defensive issues. But I would go with the same team that started at the weekend, mate.
What I'll say on that point is Russell Martin was also a defender, just to be devil's advocate. And
Russell Martin beat him. and Russell Martin's beat our new head coach. So again, these things just mount up, and you're just like, oh God, maybe we're just reaching for the stars here. But see, to be honest, see this game on Thursday and the game at the weekend, I don't think we can take too much out of it. We'll just need to wait and see who comes in to help the boy. But Hibs and Celtic, that's when you should be starting to see some sort of organisation now from. And then after that, it's just all about trying to build momentum. And then hopefully it gets to January, get some investment. And then we just kind of plough on through the season, see what it brings us. But to be honest, with how things have went this season so far, and we're implementing a guy that's not even got a backroom team with him now, then for me, we'll just need to see how this season goes. My expectations of this season are very, very low, to be honest, as it stands now. It'll be all what happens really next season for me. And it's not a defeatist attitude, but it's just the way things are sitting now. We've got the weakest Celtic team ever playing there now, and we still can't, grasp a title. So it's there's a lot that needs to go right for this to magically become a lot better. So here's hoping, but my expectation level is pretty low, to be honest.
Matt, should the next two games be more about the players' reaction than the manager or the head coach's point of view getting put across? Is it now these players that come under the spotlight to see if they react?
Yes, definitely. Especially the more seasoned players, I think should be under the spotlight other than the manager. And I agree with the Hibs and the Celtic game is when you should see a change in performance, like training. Because there is a lot of young players in the team. That striker, the £8 or £10 million, he's 21. I still think it was a mistake, but he could change, could prove us wrong. But I think the seasoned players should know what the club's about.
Ridgeman, obviously the past few months have all been about the spotlight on the management setup, Russell Martin in particular, tactics and style of play, philosophy, whatnot. And the players probably got away with a lot because it was all scrutinised towards Russell Martin. But as I said, these next two games, it's all about the players and how they react. Yes, they might not get the full instructions right away because of how little time there is to get them across. But for pride, passion, playing for the jersey, we've not seen a lot of it or at all this season. Now it's time to step up and be counted. It's down to these players to show us something else.
Yeah, I think we've said, it's been said a number of times, and obviously in other places as well. I'm sure every pub that's got Rangers fans in it have been talking about it too. We're hoping that the players, under the tutelage of this new manager and his coaches, whenever they come in, that they're going to get it into their head. This is what they've got to do. I still go back to say there are players in our team that are not the correct quality that we're expecting. They're not showing us the quality that we're expecting from them. So when you get players that are not playing the way you think they should play, then it's going to be very difficult, because they will become a disappointment a lot of the time. And you can see that with the amount of balls that get poured through our defence, slight balls over the top, teasing balls through the inside channels that draw our defender in, to leave and piece wide for the wing, and that leaves the outside channel open for their attacking fullbacks to ramp up passes. And we've seen it so many times. These are the things that need to be shown. How I don't necessarily think that the players really know what the coach will want, so they can't get in their minds to start second guessing. The coach has got to be thorough and tell them emphatically, this is what I want you to do in that way. And hopefully he's not going to be naive. The coach, he's not going to be naive and do these things. We must build the team in the manner in which the coach sees the best way to go forward, or go back, or whatever. Hold the ball. How do we hold the ball? And how do we support people? All these things have got to be said, and said in a strict manner. And we've got to discipline the team. And I just, you've heard me a million times, but a lot of them sick fed up listening to me when I say it. We do not have, at the present moment, I don't see the quality that's required as to be a Rangers team in every position. I see some really good players that we've got, and I'm delighted some of them on our team. And I think we're not playing them right. You've got Miovski there, and he was a really good player in the Scottish League before. And I don't understand why we're not getting in and out of him. I don't think anybody understands how the guy's playing or how we play. And you can't marry the two together. So somebody's got to pull all that together. And I hope this manager does it. Because we have got players, we've got players with ability, and we've got a record of scoring and a record of doing this. And I think that all we need Raskin in top form, and you need, in my opinion, you need Diamondi in top form when we're playing in Europe. They two have got to shine. And if they shine, that reflects good on the defensive side and the offensive side, because he gets to get the ball from there, and the people builds the confidence. We need that to happen Thursday night.
Cheers, Bridge. Well, gents, would you believe we've reached that time of the show? Final word from yourself, Matt. Cheers for phoning in, mate.
All I'll say is thanks for taking my call, and we are the people. That's all I've got to say.
Cheers, mate. I appreciate the call. GB.
Perfect send off there, Matt. Like that. We are the people at the end there. That was a nice wee note to send us halfway, mate. Aye, boys, thanks for coming on tonight. That is a good announcement. It's another Rangers coach, head manager, whatever you want to call it, in the day. So best of luck to him. I really do hope you get the backing, sir. And we'll see what happens on Thursday, boys. Thanks very much.
Cheers, mate. Bridge, man.
Oh, Robert, thanks for having us on. Lovely show. Yourself and GB. It's been fantastic. And of course, Matt, great caller. And the techie boys in the background. And thanks very much to Foxy for spending some time with us. That was really interesting. A lot of folk love that. They like to hear his voice and hear what his thoughts are. Thank you very much for that, Fox. Can I just say to all the Rangers fans that are listening and all over the world, Thursday night, biggest game of the season. In fact, biggest game of any season, based on our last result there. We need to do something, and I hope the manager, well done management signing, and let's get him in and wish him all the best, and let him take us forward. Please take us forward in the right way. Keep it going for the Rangers.
Cheers, Bridge. Can I just thank Matt for calling in, GB and Bridge for helping me out do the show tonight, Fox and Old School Blue for doing the technicals in the background, everybody out there for listening. Hopefully, come Thursday night, we can let the good times start with a roll. We'll be back tomorrow night at 8 PM, talking about all things Rangers. Take it away, Old School Blue.